Hey guys, my name is Faye and you're watching Mystery Date with a Book. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about my teacher training. I don't usually do that here on this channel. I usually talk about books, so if you're not interested in teacher training or PGCE or any of that, skip this video. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry. I know I'm kind of springing this on you. You know, you signed up for book videos, but here we are talking about teacher training. So I get it. Please just, skip this one if you're not interested in that. But if you're here for, information or tips and tricks about your PGCE, about your teacher training, especially in the UK, especially in primary PGCE, then please make yourself at home, get a drink, get a snack, do what you have to do, and come join me. Okay, so I graduated last summer from my PGCE in primary education. I went to Liverpool for my PGCE and it was an interesting experience, I want to say. I made a lot of friends in Liverpool at uni. I made a lot of friends and we all had slightly different experiences during our PGCE, but there were some patterns there. Like, there were things that we all went through. First of all, I want to talk about resource folders, okay? Somebody asked me on my last video about teacher training about resource folders. I got my I got my folder out for Key Stage 2. This is only Key Stage 2. I have another one just as big for Key Stage 1. Basically, okay, the person asked me to go through it, but basically, keep everything that you use, okay, in your lesson plans, even if you're just, helping the main teacher with a lesson, and if you're in charge of getting resources ready, keep a copy for yourself, because you might use it later, okay, when you're in charge of your classroom. So, everything and anything that you use, keep it, okay? Let's see, what do we have here? English. We have maths. This was a fun one. I asked the children to create a theme park, but they had a budget and they didn't have unlimited space either. They had to work with, areas and perimeters in a squared paper, and they had to put their rides, they had to put their toilets in, snack stands, benches, bins, everything. So, they had to actually plan the theme park really well, and they had a budget. So each of the children in the group, they were set, I think there are like 5 children in a group or something like that, and each of the children were in charge of a type of attraction, or one would be in charge of restaurants, another would be in charge of facilities, things like that. So yeah, keep it, okay? Keep everything. Number lines, very useful in both key stages, really. Number lines, keep everything, like clockwork. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, keep everything that you do. Science, reaction times using a ruler. Just write something down and keep it, because you might use it, okay? So, this is heavy. Okay, so there's no secret to a resource folder, really. You will build up one really quickly. You might be a bit, unsure in the beginning, a bit unsure of what to keep and what not to keep. I would say just keep everything, just in case. Keep everything. For every lesson, or for every other lesson, grab a copy for yourself of the resources and, keep it safe in a folder, because you might need it in the future. You never know, okay? That's all it is. There's no big secret about resource folders, okay? But you will be asked to keep 1 or 2, I don't know, for your PGCE. Universities, they vary a bit on what they ask for, but usually you have at least 1 resource folder. I have one for Key Stage 1 and another for Key Stage 2. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, that was my Key Stage 2 folder. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so we're moving on now. Thank you for your question. I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but somebody asked for resource folders. Anyway, okay. So, a big part of a PGCE is your placement, okay? Now, luck has a lot to do with it. I have to say, you don't get to pick, you don't get to choose where you go. Unless you're doing school direct, then you get in touch with the school. That's a whole other different route. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that because I don't have any experience on that. That's school direct is basically when you're hired by the school. They pay you a salary, but you're still a student teacher. So you still have to go to uni and do the assignments. But, you know, you're employed by that school. It's a different route, okay? I didn't do that, so, you know, I just did a normal PGCE, just normal teacher training, so that's what I'm talking about. Okay, now placements. I had to do, the first placement was just a week-long placement in a nursery. I was with, you know, 2-3-year-olds, and you get to, you know, do circle time and play time, you know, play with puppets, play with Play-Doh, just, you know, basic nursery things. We weren't asked to teach anything, but we did have to keep a diary. So every day after you go to the nursery or, you know, the early year setting, you write what you did, what you thought about it, what you've learned, and yeah, just basically what you observed that day. There's a lot of observation, you know, at the beginning especially. Just observe, just learn, soak it in as much as you can. Think, would I do something different if I was dealing with that situation? Because you might see a teacher talking to a child, but they might not be doing it in the most sensitive way, if you know what I mean. They might humiliate, embarrass that child in front of everyone else. That's never good, okay? That never has a good outcome. Okay, maybe you might not see the outcome of that experience right there and then, but that's gonna stay with that child for years to come. So please don't ever embarrass a child in front of everyone else. Please don't humiliate anyone. It's just common sense, really. But some teachers are still, you know, they're just in the heat of the moment. They have to say it. They say it, and then they think about it later, and it's too late. Anyway, so if you see something like that, if you see a teacher doing something that you don't agree with, don't confront them. That's not a good idea because it's not your place, okay? You're there as a guest, you're there to observe, okay? You're there to learn. So if something does happen that you're not okay with, if it's a serious thing, okay? If it's a serious issue, you know, child protection and things like that, go to your university, okay? Go to your tutor, go to whoever's responsible for you at university. If it's, you know, something that you don't agree with, but that no children are in danger, and, you know, it's just a different opinion that you hold, then just either keep it to yourself, you know, because you're there to learn, or talk to your friends, see what they think about it. But please don't rock the boat. Okay, you're there as a guest, okay? You're representing your university, and if you start rocking the boat, the university is not going to support you in most cases. They're going to support the school setting because they have a long-term relationship with them. They've probably known them for years. They have a good working relationship with them, and you're new. You're like, I'm here to cause trouble. Hey, look at me. So, you know, the university might not be on your side. So don't rock the boat, okay? Just keep your head down, learn as much as you can, and yeah, just get on with it. That's basically what I was told the whole time I was at uni. Because, you know, I did see some things that I didn't agree with. I saw, you know, I was put in a situation where I felt a bit, I don't want to say bullied, that's not the word. I was treated unfairly by my main teachers in one of my placements. But then I talked to my tutor at uni, and, you know, it was the last week of my course. I was like, you know, so this is happening, And the tutor was just like, you know what, just keep it quiet. Nobody's getting hurt. You're fine. The children are fine. Just, just hang in there for a few more days and it'll be over. So that's what I did. But yeah, you do go through a lot, so you need thick skin. I learned that the hard way. Oh, I cried so many times during this teacher training, you have no idea. But yes, that's another thing as well. Be ready to be shaken a little bit. There are days that you cry yourself to sleep. There are days where you won't sleep enough because you'll be working until silly o'clock at night, and then you have to get up at 6 o'clock the next morning, and yeah. So if you're tired, if you do that all the time, if you go to bed at 2 in the morning and wake up at 6 in the morning to go to your placement, if you do that constantly, you're gonna get exhausted. Plus, all the work is gonna get on top of you. Plus uni work, you have to do essays for uni as well. So that's gonna get on top of you. Your weekends are gonna be about lesson plans and doing your laundry, because that's the only time you can do your laundry. You don't have time for anything else. You have to clean your room, if you're living in halls, or clean your whole house if you're living in a house. You have no time to do your shopping or anything like that. So, you're gonna be exhausted, okay? Be ready for that, because it's worth it, okay? I'm telling you this now because I've been through it and I know it's worth it, okay? I'm in my dream job right now, okay? Especially with everything that's going on. I'm so glad I chose teaching as a career. It's so rewarding, and, teaching is, a profession that's never really going away. I don't think we're always going to need teachers, so just think about it, it's worth it, okay? It's worth it. So hang in there. I know it's tough. I know I'm only bringing you bad news during this video, but it's worth it. Okay, then another thing I want to talk about is the teachers, okay? The teachers you're going to be working with, not your fellow students, okay? Proper teachers. When you go into your placement, you're going to be assigned a certain classroom, and there's already a professional teacher in that classroom, okay? She's a qualified teacher. I say she because it's mostly women in primary schools, but there are a lot of men as well nowadays. So yeah, the teacher will be there, and at first, the first few days, you're just observing, okay? You're trying to learn the children's names because there are a lot of them, and you're trying to learn who is in which level because they're all split into different groups, according to their abilities and their knowledge and skills. So sometimes, most times I want to say, they will be split into ability groups for English, but they go to completely different groups for maths, and then other groups for, I want to say, I don't know, for something else. I can't think now, but yeah, so you have to remember who's in which group for every single subject, and then you're like, how do I plan for a classroom that I don't know? So the first few days, you're going to be observing, okay? Take a notebook with you. Absorb as much as you can, okay? Learn as much as you can. Get close to your teacher. Get close to the classroom assistant. Your classroom assistant will be your lifeline during your placement and afterwards as well, whenever you graduate. Really, classroom assistants are a godsend, honestly. They're there for you. They will help you. They know the children really well. They're very qualified as well. They're not just, someone random who walked in from the street. They know what they're doing, okay? They've had training. Sometimes they'll know more than you as a teacher because, they've been there for ages and you're new, you're getting there. You're like, what do I do now? And the classroom assistant will help you. She'll be like, okay, so usually we do this, and then we do that, and then we do that. So, yes, make friends with the staff. And learn the children's names. That's all you have to do in the first couple of days, the first week actually. Just, learn the children's names and be friends with the staff. That's all. Okay? Now, people were asking about planning time. Do you get time off, away from the classroom to do your planning, your PPA time, as we call it? Yes and no. In my first placement, I didn't. I got PPA time once towards the end of my placement. And, it was just this storage room with an old laptop. I didn't have my USB with me. I couldn't really get my things to plan my lessons. So, I just sat there on my phone on Facebook because I needed a break. It was the last few days. I was like, yeah, you know what? Just leave it. But on my second placement, I didn't get PPA at all. At all, okay? It was a weird setting, that one, I want to say. We had 2 full-time teachers in one classroom. They were both there all day long, every day. Both full-time teachers in one classroom. I don't know why. Okay? I don't know why. So that classroom mainly had 2 full-time teachers and a student teacher. They had 3 adults plus a classroom assistant who, comes and goes throughout the day. They didn't really want me there. I'm going to be very honest. Those teachers didn't want me there. They didn't really welcome me into their classroom. On my first day, I was just, standing on the side, and they said to the children, okay, so that's Miss Fernandez, and just carried on. I was like, that's not my name. and I was like, it's actually Miss Lara. And that was it. Like, that was my introduction to the children. They didn't, they weren't interested in me at all. So I felt very, rejected in that second placement. But yeah, it happens, okay? It happens. You just have to get on with it. As I said before, just get your head down, work, and it will be over at some point, okay? I was counting down the days. I had a massive calendar on my wall at uni. I used to cross every single day. I was like, one day closer to going home, one day closer to going home, because it was driving me crazy. Going into an environment every single day where you're not wanted, it's horrible. It's horrible. I used to get a stomachache every time I stepped into that school. So yeah, that was my second big placement. First, we had that short placement in a nursery, then a big placement in a primary school where I was with, I want to say 5-year-olds. Yeah, they were about 5. So 5-year-olds. And then we had another, that placement was lovely, by the way. It was amazing. The teacher is brilliant, and the children, I miss those children so much. They were so good. Then after that, we went on another short placement. It was a week long in a special school, so special learning support school. I don't remember what it's called, but it was a special school, and children with all sorts of physical and mental disability, and it was brilliant. I felt so at home there. It was so relaxed, everyone was so friendly, and it was absolutely brilliant. If we had a school like that in my area here where I live now, I would so apply for that school because I loved it. It was so relaxed. They don't actually follow the curriculum to a T because, the children have different needs. So it's very relaxed, and I absolutely loved it. You can just have a laugh with the children, make sure they're learning, yes, but at their own pace, at their own level, and it was amazing. It was brilliant. Okay, so that was just for a week, unfortunately. Then I went on to my second big placement, okay? That was my last placement, and that was the one where we had 2 teachers who didn't want me in the school, and I didn't like it. That was with 11-year-olds. no, 10-year-olds. They're about 10 or 11, you know, depending on when their birthday is. And I didn't really like that one. So, yeah. But, well, you do what you gotta do, don't you? And yes, I had 2 observations in that second big placement. 1 observation in my first big placement and 2 observations in my second observation, the big ones. When I talk about my two placements, I'm talking about the big ones, okay? Because those are the ones that really count, basically. And on the second one, I had 2 observations, and first one was really, really bad. I didn't think that the lesson was that bad. I thought it went well. I went over the lesson plan the day before with one of the teachers in my classroom. He said, yes, no, that's fine, that's a really good idea. If you add this and add this, and it's going to be brilliant. So, you know, I took his advice on and I did what he asked. I did the lesson. And afterwards, I went for my feedback with a person from uni. There's always someone from uni who comes in to do your observations. And she kind of broke me. She compared my lesson to some of the worst lessons she had ever seen in her life. And oh my goodness, I went home crying. That was brutal. That was the worst day of the whole PGCE thing. She just kind of, you know, criticized every single point of my lesson. And she was like, "What? Why didn't you talk through your lesson plan with your teacher beforehand?" And I was like, "I did! I did!" But yeah, I feel like I was kind of thrown under the bus on that one. That teacher did me wrong. I think so. But anyway, it was horrible. I went home crying. I didn't teach anything for the next 2 or 3 days. I actually thought about quitting. That was the time when I actually went as far as looking up flights to go home. I was gonna leave my car there. I was gonna leave everything there. I didn't want anything to do with that PGCE anymore. I wanted to go home. So, what I did was I took a couple of days to myself. I called my mom and I cried my eyes out. And then I put my big girl panties on and I went back into that school and I carried on. On my last observation, they gave me a higher mark, obviously, and they said, "See, it wasn't that bad, was it? It's over, you know." And I was thinking, yes, it was that bad. You didn't have to be that cruel. But I didn't say anything because, you know, going back to my first point, don't rock the boat, okay? You just keep your head down and say, "Yes, sir, yes, miss," and that was it. Yes, it was a horrendous experience, but it was an experience that taught me a lot about myself, about how far I can go, about what my limits are. I know what kind of school I want to go into when I apply for jobs, the kind of school I want to avoid, you know. So, yes, one thing I know is I don't want to work in that area again, in Liverpool. Yeah, that little area in Liverpool. I'm not even gonna say which area it is because it was bad. But anyway, it's over, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad it's over. And yes, I learned a lot. Best things about my PGCE. The friends that I made. I'm still in touch with my other students, you know, with the friends that I made there. Friends, the best thing. Second best thing would be the things I learned. I learned so many tips and tricks from watching the teachers, and you know, even the bad teachers, you know, who didn't want me there, I learned a lot from them. You know, I could do this, I could do that, I could change this, I'm not gonna use that. So, you know, you do learn a lot from just observing people. And third thing as well, they're not in order, by the way. It's just another thing that's one of the best things. The children. If it wasn't for the children, I couldn't have finished this course. The children really, really helped me through it, even though they had no idea what was going on. Yeah, because every teacher is a little bit of an actress. You have to keep your personal life or whatever you're feeling outside the classroom. When you're there for the children. And, you know, you're there to listen to their problems. You're there not just to teach, but you're there as, you know, a psychiatrist sometimes, a psychologist, as, you know, as a mother figure sometimes. Sometimes you get children who come up to you and call you mom because, you know, there's a connection there in their heads. Like, you know, that's the person who looks after me. That's the person who cares about me. So that kind of relationships that you form with the children, so worth it. Okay, so worth it. So yes, if you're thinking about going into teaching, I highly recommend it. It's tough, it's hard, especially your training, but it's so worth it. It's so good. Worst thing about my PGCE, I'd say that second placement. When you're in a classroom where the adults don't welcome you into the classroom, the children pick up on that, and they will be a bit, you know, reserved, or, you know, they'll be a bit iffy about you, if you know what I mean. They won't be as close to you as if the adults in the room were welcoming and friendly. But anyway, that's, you know, it's over. Yeah, it's done. So yeah, if you have any questions about teacher training, about placements, about PGCE, about anything, like just teacher life in general, leave me a comment down below. You know, I'm always here. I'm always happy to answer your questions. So yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, you know, if I could talk about anything else, let me know down below. And yeah, that's it, guys. And I usually talk about books, okay? I usually talk about books in my channel, but just for this once, you know, I know people are getting a bit anxious about going into their teacher training in September, but you know what? Don't worry about it. You're gonna get through it, okay? If I could do it in a second language, in a placement from hell, if I could do it, then so can you. Okay, that's my message. Such an inspiring message. I know. Thank you very much. Yes, do it, okay? It's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. Okay, so yes, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, subscribe, click the bell, leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment, okay? I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.